Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Outliers podcast. This is our very first episode. I'm so excited to get this started. This is a podcast basically where we sit down with unique individuals and kind of talk with them and see how they differentiate themselves from the norm. I'm sorry. But today, we have my guy, our very first guest on our very first episode. He's a freak athlete, one of the best basketball players I've actually played with, and also one of the best dunkers I know. The guy can literally fly. Introducing Neil Williams and Bree. Give it up.
How you guys doing?
But yeah, that's just a little short intro on you. If you want to add anything else, I don't know if you want to add anything else you're doing, anything else that you want to be recognized or labeled as.
I mean, you pretty much hit it on the head. I do a bunch of different things, but that's what I'm mostly known for. So
Yeah,
that's what it is.
that's what's up. And then I want to kind of touch on this one thing really quick. Your name is New. How did your parents come up with that, or who came up with that? Because that's pretty unique, honestly. Like, I've never heard anybody say with the same name as New.
Yeah, so those are my initials.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Got you. So what's your full name?
It's Nuriel Elijah Williams.
Solid.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Honestly, that's pretty dope. But okay, cool. I see you. So you're from LA, right? Whereabouts in LA?
I'm born and raised in Inglewood, California.
Inglewood. Nice, man. And then you went to college where again? You went to first?
First, I went to Auburn University in Auburn, Alabama. And then I transferred to Fresno State.
Okay, nice. And so what would you say, obviously, like, the NCAA has, like, changed a lot since you left as well, too, especially with, like, athletes getting paid now for likeliness. I feel like you probably would have done pretty well with that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Like, now that, players are getting paid, obviously, you kind of missed out on the opportunity. I feel like you would have definitely capitalized on it. But how do you feel about that now?
I feel like it's a step in the right direction. We expend a lot of energy, a lot of hours. It's very hard for student athletes in general to do anything other than their sport, along with, going to class every day. You got 5-6 classes. And so, it doesn't leave time for much else. So I believe it's definitely a step in the right direction. But I feel like, we can go way farther with it.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I really think it is a step in the right direction, especially after, I think, so many years. Like, the NCAA has just been taking these players, money, basically just making money off of them and not allowing them to do anything with it. I was going to ask you, too, piggybacking off of that, is like, if you were going to go to college or do the same route, like, would you, if you're starting out, in high school with all of what you knew now, would you do the same thing, or would you do something different? Like, would you go to a different place? Maybe college, JUCO, or would you go straight to, like, a different college?
In a perfect world, maybe I would have went somewhere else, but I feel like the decisions I made me into the person that I am today. So I feel like it was definitely necessary for me to be on the road and on the path that, I went down, because it allowed me to evolve as a person.
Yeah, I mean, that totally makes sense. Like, but was there anything at all you're like, damn, maybe I should have done this instead, or maybe I should have, like, just one little thing here or there?
Nah, I mean, I don't really have any regrets. It was definitely, a hard road. It was definitely a lot of, crap that just went on, during the entire process, especially with me and my journey. So there's some things that, maybe I wish would have gone better, but, again, I really don't have any regrets. And all of those hardships, all of those tribulations that I went through, through my entire journey, high school, college, and all of that, really just helped define me as a person.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much, yeah. Now, you have some of the craziest dunks I've ever seen. Like, literally the craziest. Like, you literally fly. I'm not even kidding. If anybody hasn't seen it, go check it out. Neil Williams. I'll leave everything in the link in the description. You can see it. Like, this guy literally flies. Now, stemming from that, though, you're a great basketball player. Like, you've gone on streaks. Like, I think at Fresno State you hit like 11 threes in the game or something like that, right? You go crazy hot. what do you tell people that like you're more than just like a dunker? You know, you're a real basketball player. You can really like, you know, hoop. You know, like what do you tell people like that you're just a dunker? He can just dunk or he just jumps high.
I really don't feed into all that because when it gets down to it, when we get on the court, I mean, we saw at Fresno State the majority of what my role was to do was to, you know, hit shots, create shots, play defense. Dunking and all that stuff is really just the ego of the game. It's really just the vibrato of the game and the flashiness. But I wouldn't have been able to sustain a career if that was my only capability, you know, because you don't there are certain situations, but you don't get a lot of situations as a 6'1", 6'2" guard to, you know, dunk the ball every play. You know, if I was 7 feet, you know, it might be a different story, but, you know, as a 6'2" guard, there aren't really a surplus of opportunities to dunk the ball. So you can't really sustain a career like that being just a dunker. So, you know, if people are saying that, that means they haven't watched me play. They haven't played against me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so, I mean.
I know that for sure. No, yeah. I mean, that's totally on the head. Like, I mean, when we're playing, like, in the rec or, like, in, you know, and stuff like that, I mean, you'd be killing it, everybody. But, no, I mean, that's mostly kind of where I think a lot of people, you know, get, like, they put people in categories, you know? They put you in, like, a category. But I feel like a lot of people don't really get to see sometimes, like, outside of that. Like, sometimes they'll see your clips or something. Like, I was showing a couple people, like some of your highlights, stuff like that, you know, your dunks and stuff. And like, damn, like that's crazy, you know. All he does is, you know, dunk. I was like, no, he's like one of the best basketball players like I actually know. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's good that, you know, you keep yourselves, you know, humble to that. We kind of touched on this a while ago, is where you kind of broke down like the science of like, you know, jumping and like, you know, how important it is to take care of your body and like the actual like what'd you say, like reasons to like, you know, work out specific, you know, workouts and stuff like that. Can you take me through that, kind of how you know, what's the most important thing when learning how to jump or when, you know, training to like jump higher safely? Because I know you injured yourself, right, or something like that. Yeah, so can you take me through that, like what's like the process of being like the best, you know, route for people or being the safest route as well? Because sometimes it is dangerous when you're you know, jumping high and, you know, that pressure up and down and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get so caught up in, you know, what they see on social media or what they hear from people, you know, like, oh, do a bunch of squats or, you know, deadlift, and, you know, they hear all these things, but the fact of the matter is there aren't many people out in the world that are teaching technique. There aren't many people out in the world that even have a history in biomechanics, and those type of things are actually what need to be understood in order to maximize jumping capability, because, you know, a lot of jumping relies on fast twitch muscles. A lot of people don't really have as many fast twitch muscles as a super athlete does, so what they need to do is develop that. So doing powerlifting and all of that stuff, if you're not doing it correctly, is a slow twitch builder. So you're building the completely opposite muscle, which it may help you a little bit. It may allow you to expand, you know, slightly, but being focused on the things that actually matter and the technique and how you're doing things is far more important than what you're doing and how many times you're doing it. So yeah, that's kind of like one of the things that I'm doing is working on creating a platform that actually teaches the science behind body movement. Most physical trainers and, you know, fitness people and all that kind of thing, they don't go to school for kinesiology or biomechanics or, you know, the understanding of actually how the body works. They go and then they take, you know, a strength training class and a strength training course, and they go through that process and they learn, okay, these are the 4 categories of exercises that you need to focus on for this. These are the 4 categories of exercise you need to focus on for this. And they learn, okay, we're going to do, this is what a squat is. This is how you do a squat. This is what this exercise is. This is how you do it. But they don't actually learn the science behind the body, how it should move, how it shouldn't be moving, what you should be doing in order to maximize certain specific muscle groups. So that's kind of what I'm working on, because those things are really important in, you know, developing anything really is actually knowing
like the reason behind it.
Yeah, and the ins and outs, and you know all of the things that go into building these things. You know, it all has to be understood.
No, I mean I think that's a really good explanation, honestly, for most people, because even myself too. When I first got started, before I hurt myself too, and obviously I gained weight. Everybody can see on the camera. Last time I saw you, I was a lot skinnier. But no, I used to do the same thing. I was just doing regular workouts, trying to figure out like, you know, what would be the best way to do it. You know, deadlift, squats, you know, RDL, stuff like that, which are all good. But I think what you kind of touched on was a fast twitch. Was it fast twitch muscles? Can you kind of like go over that just a little bit? Like maybe what's some top your workouts that would include that would help with that?
Working on fast twitch muscles is just doing like explosive exercises. So you might be doing a squat, but doing, you know, a squat where you're going down for 2 seconds and coming up in 2 seconds is much different than if you're working on an eccentric load to a concentric explosion. So where you're going down on your squat for 3 seconds, but then exploding up as fast as you can. That's, you know, that will be working more on a fast twitch muscles rather than a slow twitch muscle. Just that small difference. This is the exact same exercise, but you're just doing it completely different. But then it also goes into the technique of how you're doing it. Are you doing it with a knee bias load, or are you doing it with a hip bias load? Because if you're trying to maximize glute power, which is one of the biggest muscles on your body, then you need to be doing a hip bias load rather than a knee bias load, because if you're doing a knee bias load, then you're more focused on quad, and quad is not what you're trying to focus on if you're trying to build fast twitch muscles in a concentric explosion from a squat. See what I'm saying? So all that stuff matters, but it's all the same exercises that we're talking about. It's just doing
it a little bit differently. Yeah, I mean, that honestly, I think that's really important for a lot of like young athletes out there too, is that when you're training, don't just train just to like be there. Like actually, you know, focus on exactly what you said is doing it the right way. I think that's more important. You know, if you're gonna do something, just do it right. And I think that's pretty on the head. I just want to switch topics really quick just to Bree. Welcome, Bree, everybody. Hi. This is Bree. Bree is a social media manager. You want to quickly introduce yourself, where you came from, and, you know, what can you kind of do now?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, but I just recently moved out here in May. So I'm new here, but I really like it so far. And I moved out here to work in social media and to be an assistant kind of to an influencer out here that had a really big following, and she needed help kind of just managing her social media account. So I took that over for her and just really focused on her engagement, her insights and growth, and like just allowing her to focus on making the content and enjoying it instead of having to worry about, you know, the numbers and the statistics behind it. Which was really cool because I also got to help out with a bunch of creative content and like kind of direct her also with just coming up with cool ideas and focusing on like the latest trends. What else did we do? We did a bunch of brand deals too. So I did like brand promotional work, just reaching out to brands for her and trying to get paid promotional deals because that's really big right now for influencers as well.
Yeah. Was because I'm in this space as well, and it's definitely a lot, like it's a lot more than people think it is. It's a lot more work. And
there's
like
a lot of
numbers.
Behind the scenes that doesn't really get noticed, which is fine, it's cool, but like everyone's just looking at the numbers of followers that they have, but not really the traffic they're bringing in and like
and like how much that means, different audiences and stuff like that. No, I know what you mean. So when you first got started into this, you said you came out here for like an influencer, right?
Yeah.
How was that experience? Like, was that your first experience with working social media, or you're working previously?
It was. I had actually graduated from college like last December, and I was home for a couple months, and I saw like an opening for that, and so I just kind of jumped at it, moved out here, so it was my first experience with it, and it taught me a lot. Like at first I was really nervous because I was like, can I do this? And it was a lot to take in, but once I kind of got a grasp of it, I really was just impressed by how much money there is in social media right now and how much you can make from being an influencer or just being active on your social media accounts. So just I learned a lot from her because she had a really big following and a lot to do with that following. So it was a really good experience.
Yeah. I'm not going to reveal any numbers, but yeah, there's a lot of money in social media right now.
Right, it's crazy.
A lot of money. But no, that's great. That's great. And what are like your plans? So what do you want to, like, let's say a 1-year goal? Like, what do you want to get to as a social media manager or level up as?
That's a good question.
It's important to set goals, you know?
It really is. I've been taking it. I'm like the type of person to live in the moment. So he's kind of helped me out with just like forming that plan and staying like, you know, on that specific, I guess, or in that specific direction, like going towards my big goal. But my big goal right now at the moment that I would say for the next year is to focus on making my own little social media management, not company, but maybe just like an agency or something small that I can eventually grow into something bigger. Once I make those like networking connections and meet people and kind of just build friendships and relationships with them. I had like a name called Creative Souls Media. I like that just because I have a creative soul. I think a lot of people do, so they can relate to that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great plan. Honestly, it's probably one of the most, I would say, like the newer things that's coming up, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not something that's been around for a long time. Most social media is like, if you think social media is old, it's not. It's new. We're just getting into it. People are still discovering things. People are still learning algorithms, techniques, and stuff like that. So there's definitely no, like, bad time. If you want to get into this stuff, you can get into it. Bree's an example, you know?
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah. Like, it's something that doesn't really feel like work. So you wake up every day and you're like, okay, what can I do today that's, like, you know, going to be fun or enjoyable, and or even, like, what's trending, and you can kind of just jump on the wave and make something out of it.
So how did you two meet?
I went to Auburn as well.
Oh,
so
okay.
I played softball at Auburn, so just listening in on him talking about, like, us wishing that we could have gotten the chance to, like, promote for brands and stuff and get money from that, I could relate to that a lot because we got in trouble whenever.
Really?
Yeah, like we would get in trouble by compliance if we tried to do stuff like that whenever I was there. So
like they would check your social media and stuff. Like, wow.
And you can get, like, I guess, in trouble and not. You could be like ineligible to play if they saw something like that. But now it's allowed, which I'm very happy for, like, all the other athletes out there right now, because when you're playing your sport, that's really, like, that's your job. So you don't have time to go get another source of income. And when you're not making anything from that, it's hard to, you know, provide for yourself. So
I think, yeah, a lot of college athletes don't get enough credit for this. Like, you guys both attest to this, that you guys had to do, like workouts in the morning, practice in the morning, school. Then you had to go, like, probably do, like, film studies, right? Stuff like that. Then work out after that. Like, talk me through your day. Like, what would you do, like, on a normal, like, college day?
So in the summers, we had 6 a.m. workouts. So we get up, work out at 6 a.m., run the stadiums or go do shuttle runs on the football field. After that, we would go to class. If a couple guys had 8 a.m.s, then they would probably leave the workout early so that they can make it on time to their 8 a.m.s. Other guys that had 9 or 10 o'clock classes would go home after the workout and, you know, shower maybe if they had that luxury. And, you know, you go to class, you're in class all day until around 3 o'clock, and then until around maybe 2:30, and then you get to practice at 3, and then you're in practice until 6 o'clock. And then you got study hall after practice. So then you're in study hall maybe until about 8, 9 o'clock. Study hall closes at 10 o'clock. So you're probably in it until around that time. And then you have that 1 hour to go do something else before you're too exhausted and ready to go to sleep. So
yeah. And that's crazy. It's like you literally have no time. Like, that's your entire focus is school, right? Your coach is making sure you're doing good grades, you're eligible, stuff like that. And then just working out, making sure you're the best athlete you can be, right? That's crazy, man. That's crazy. I always wanted to be like a college athlete, but then I was like, I started like going to guys' practices and stuff, watching it. I was like, I don't know. It's kind of tough, but no, that's great. And I kind of want to touch on this a few things too. Is like what you've been into. I saw you played in the Drew League. How many? Is that your first year playing, or have you played before?
Yeah, that was my first year playing in the Drew League. I played one other time. I played like one game, but I just went in to watch, and then I ended up in a jersey. So, yeah.
Yeah. How was that experience though? Like, you know, because the Drew League is pretty popular. Like, you know, NBA players show up to it. It's a fun time, and I think you played. Did you play with like Frank? Right? He's like the MVP one time of the Drew League.
Yeah, I think he's been the MVP like 3 times.
3 times. Yeah.
Our team was stacked. We had Montrezl Harrell, Mike James, Kenneth Fareed. Like our team.
How was that? Like, you know, playing with those types of players. You know, I mean, you obviously play with a lot of players like all the time.
Yeah.
I've seen you play with them, but like in a Drew League type setting, you know, like real game.
Yeah, it was pretty fun, and you know those guys are really good guys. So we actually were like a real team, and we came together and we talked and we learned things from each other. So you know it was a really good experience, and especially to show that you know I'm on the same level as these guys. I'm the same caliber player as these guys. I mean, 9 times out of 10, I was one of the top 3 leading scorers on the team with Montrezl Harrell and Mike James. So
yeah. I mean, that speaks volume for itself. Like, you're literally competing with the best of the best right there and proving yourself again. And to piggyback off of that, so off of those experiences, you know, you're working out and stuff like that. What's next for you right now? Like, what are you looking forward to in the next like year? Are you trying to get into like, I think you're talking about like the G League, right?
Yeah, I played in the G League last season. I got cut from the team that I was on though. I was with Ignite with Jalen and all those guys.
Where's that out of again?
It's in Walnut Creek.
Walnut Creek, okay.
Yeah. So now I'm waiting on my next contract. I should be hearing anything like any day now, actually. So
hey, congrats, bro.
Yeah.
Hopefully for the best, man. Hope for the best. Would you say making those connections too, like in the Drew League and obviously playing everywhere else and practicing, those connections probably help you, you know, move up, maybe try to get something, some talks, or do you think it's just mostly just exposure that's probably better?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the media thing. You know, when you're in the eye of the media, then you know everybody's watching. So that was like the main thing that I got from that was being able to stay in the media and stay relevant to, you know, people that may have been watching online that didn't know who I was at first, but then, you know, maybe they saw me on Baller's Life, which has 7 million followers, and they're like, oh, hold on. Yeah. So, you know, that was really the most lucrative thing that I gained from, you know, being in the Drew League this season.
Now, I haven't been too much. I tried to find it. Do you have like a TikTok or a YouTube channel yourself?
Yeah, I do have a TikTok. I really don't use it that much, but I mean, I use it a couple times and I have like 3 videos with like 200,000 views.
I've been trying to get him to get on there.
You got to get him on there.
He won't do it.
Come on, bro.
Come on.
It's the way. I honestly, like, you could literally, I'm not even kidding, you could take the clips of you from other YouTube videos and just post it on your own or your own TikTok, and you'd probably go viral. You would. You're telling me that one of your dunks, you fucking do like a windmill, your elbows through the rim, you're not going to go viral?
He's perfect for it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got to start using it more. And I do have a YouTube channel. I have no videos. But the reason why I created the YouTube channel is because I've been working with a physical therapy office on doing a 12-week vertical program, but all based in the actual science, like what you do when you get injured. Like, I feel like you shouldn't have to wait until you get injured to have this information. So I'm doing a 12-week vertical program, and I'm going to release it on YouTube.
That's a good topic actually as well. I didn't even think about that. It's like being prepared for if you get injured. I think that's a huge key, and not only that, but like in everything in life is. Even in medicine, like the best medicine or the best health or whatever recovery is prevention, right? It's preventing it, not having it happen. So is there anything you could touch up on that? Is like, you know, what are some of the best things to be prepared for if you get injured? What are some things you should do right away for that?
If you're injured, you should always be doing pre-rehab. So before you have to get surgery or before you have to be, you know, before you have to go to the doctor, before you have to get physical therapy, you should do pre-rehab. So always strengthening those muscle groups before you have to get that surgery. That was one of the main things that I did after I tore my ACL, was go to the weight room every day after I tore my ACL and strengthen my quads, because if you have surgery, then your muscles are going to atrophy after the surgery. So you want to make sure that, you know, they're in an adequate state so that when they atrophy, they're not atrophying to the point where you have to literally rebuild the entire muscle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then that makes a lot of sense. I was actually watching a YouTube video on that recently too. But when you're when you tore your ACL, because you had the information and you knew about this stuff, would you say it sped up your recovery by how much? By months, maybe weeks?
They said that I was going to be back in 6 to 9 months, and I was back in 3.
3 months. You came back from an ACL in 3 months?
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. You wanna tell Kawhi something, or?
And I mean, it may have also had to do with just me.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could also have to do with that, because I'm in like a small group of like 10% of the world called copers. So I didn't even really feel when I tore my ACL.
Oh, really?
I was playing
Wow.
with it for 3 months before.
Oh shit.
Everybody found out, like, okay, yeah, like this ACL is not here.
Wait, so you played with a broken ACL or torn ACL for 3 months?
Yeah.
How? How did you not
Right.
How did you not feel it? Did you not feel it? Did you feel pain at all?
I felt a pop, and then I just put some ice on it, and I went back into the game.
Damn.
Yeah.
That is actually insane. Like, I'm still stunned by this. Wait, okay, so you tore your ACL, you went back in the game, and you were just completely fine. You could jump. You didn't feel like any pain cutting. If you're like jab stepping, nothing.
Mm-mm. It swelled up like a freaking softball the next day. But then
Is that when you were like, okay, maybe something's wrong with me, or?
nope. I was like, what the heck? Why does my knee look like this? And so I just didn't practice that day, and then I played in the game the next day and had 18-10.
But you played in the game. Oh my god.
And then by the time I actually got to the doctor to have an MRI, the swelling had already went down, and they were like, just take 2 weeks off and you'll be good. And so I took the 2 weeks off. We were playing terrible teams during that 2 week span, so like I didn't really care. And then I came back, and I was back doing what I was doing before, and it was just one game where I just collapsed in the game. And so like,
Oh, you collapsed in the game.
yeah.
Well, what happened? So what happened to that? Like, what was the scenario that happened? Like, were you jumping, or
No.
you were just, what was happening? Just walking?
Yeah, I was just on the court. We were on offense. I think I like jump stopped in the paint, and I was like making a pivot to pass the ball out, and then I just
You just
fell.
fell?
Yeah.
And then did it start hurting then?
No.
No, you couldn't just like feel it, or?
Yeah, I just was confused why I couldn't stand.
And so then you're like, all right, something's wrong.
Yeah, and then I went back to get my MRI scan looked at again by another doctor. And
So a doctor looked at it already?
Yeah.
And they said nothing was wrong?
Yeah, they were like, oh, okay, you're good. You
Really?
probably just
They
have a bone bruise.
misdiagnosed you?
Yeah, because it's kind of, with the MRI, my ACL was like gone. So they thought it was just like faint printing. They thought like, okay, like it's probably still there. The printing is just
It's just off.
Yeah.
That's
So-
crazy though. I would be so mad. Were you mad at the doctor?
Yeah. No, well, I was mad at the doctor that told me it was torn, because I thought she was crazy. I'm like, look, man, I've had like 3 people already look at this, and now you're trying to tell me that my ACL is not here. Like, you sound nuts.
Yeah.
And so then I took it back to the people that looked at it before and told them what she said, and they were like, oh,
Wow.
it's not
Like,
there.
oh, it's broken or it's torn.
Yeah, so-
Wait, so what did they do? Like, if it's gone, what do they find it in your knee, or like do you have like an artificial? I don't know how that works.
Yeah, so basically what happened was it snapped and then like rolled up.
Oh, so they had to like string it down.
No,
No?
they take that out.
Oh, they
So-
took it out.
Yeah, so what they did for my specific surgery was they took muscle tissue from my hamstring and then used that as a graft to recreate my ACL. Sometimes they take it from a corpse. It's called a cadaver.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they'll take somebody's dead ACL
And
and
just
then
put it
use
in
that
yours.
as the graph. But if you go that route, like it's the person's dead, like so
Yeah.
it's not as reliable. Especially if you want to be, you know, a high level athlete. That's probably not the best idea for you to do.
Yeah.
Or they take it from the patellar tendon at the front of the knee, which is actually the most popular surgery. But again, like how sustainable?
Well, how does it feel like? Did they say you lose any performance for that, or is it something that's just like it works?
They really don't know.
They're just like, all right, let's do it.
It really depends on the person, and especially like the work that they're actually doing on their own. Like that really plays a giant part into it, because you know some people just do the bare minimum to try to get back, and that's why, you know, maybe it takes 9 months, 11 months, or they never get back to where they used to be. But you know, if you actually,
You think that anybody like, I honestly believe that too, is like when you get injured, I feel like your body when you get injured, your body starts to heal itself right away.
Yeah.
You know, our bodies are made to heal itself. I believe that anybody that's injured can really heal unless something terribly goes wrong, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like they can get back to themselves. But
yeah, 9 times out of 10 it's a mental thing, like fear, like, yeah, that's the thing.
yeah. Have you had any? I mean, you played softball, right? So I'm assuming maybe.
I just have like a weird looking finger. It's about the only thing.
Oh.
I pretty much broke and like jammed all my fingers, but I never had a major injury, thank God. So
Yeah,
because I probably would have been the one rolling on the floor screaming, crying, and I wouldn't have been the one
I would have
that
too.
continued
I don't
playing
think
for 3 months.
I don't think
and had
anybody
no idea.
besides you probably would have.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that's played on
It's
20.
not
So
normal.
yeah.
Well,
No.
there's a couple people, couple NFL players, couple
I mean,
NBA guys that were playing with no ACL
Well,
at all.
maybe that's why
Never
y'all
got
are
the
like
surgery.
top level athletes. You know?
That's true. That's why I'm fat and you're and you look like that. You look good. But no, I mean that's crazy. Like I would imagine though, I had a few few friends that played softball, and they've had some pretty nasty injuries. It was like sliding and stuff like that.
Oh, I've definitely had my fair share of like, we call them like strawberries, like big bruises, or just like scraping all your skin off of your shins when you're sliding. So
I saw one too though. Like one of my friends in high school, she was going to slide. I think it was like home, but like her like ankle popped out of place. Like she went to like go slide, but then like her ankle like, got caught or something like that.
yeah.
I've seen that a couple times actually, but oh, thank God. I mean, these things get injured.
No, yeah, softball is like one of those sports too that's like really like gritty. So like you can get really injured out there. But we had a couple girls on my team tear their ACL too. I think like one of our players teared both of her ACLs, and it was like a lot of injuries. But thankfully I wasn't one of them. So
Yeah, that's good. That's good. There's a lot of I guess, what would you say is your take on today's NBA? I want to ask every single person this question, because I feel like a lot of people have different opinions on like, oh, you know, which era is better, blah blah blah. But how do you feel like today's NBA fits, I guess, the model? You know, do you like it better? How do you feel about the play style and stuff like that? Or do you think it could be better, or would you adjust it anyway?
I think that's been like the thing about the NBA, is trying to improve gameplay, improve fan experience. So that's why you see the new rule changes this year with the fouls and stuff. They're trying to call less fouls to speed the game up, so that, you know, it keeps fans engaged, whether or not that, you know, deteriorates the integrity of the game or not. But I guess it doesn't really, because, you know, if you look at different eras, I mean, they weren't calling that many fouls like that anyway. But the reason why they changed the rules and started calling more fouls was, okay, well, what are we trying to do? We're trying to protect the offensive player. So then it went from, okay, we're trying to protect the offensive player, to, okay, fans are getting bored because we're calling fouls all game, and now they're getting annoyed. So let's go away from that, and then let's adapt to, you know, what our fans are looking for. So, you know, I think it's a difficult job trying to, you know, be trying to be in the middle of, okay, what do our fans want to see? What do they like? What do they want to keep in terms of nostalgia from, you know, maybe a specific era that they grew up watching the game in? And how do we, you know, protect our players? How do we keep our players happy, because they're the ones that are actually playing the game? So, you know, it's it's interesting seeing how they kind of maneuver through that space.
Yeah. Do you think they'll go back ever? Do you think maybe at one point they'll no?
No.
You think that's the way it's gonna be now?
Yeah, because this world is much too sensitive for them to allow any.
Yeah.
Just like it was in the 90s and in the 80s, like you can't allow any of that.
No, I mean I see that point. I do see like leagues though popping up that are trying to like change some stuff, make it exciting, but I don't think they'll ever change that. What do you think? What's your goal? What's your route for making it to the NBA? What's your like strategy for now?
The G League is a great opportunity to continue my dream to make it to the NBA, because it's right there. Like you can get called up at any point, especially if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So my thing is just when I get my opportunity to be on the court, then that's all I really need in order to put myself in that position to be. Like for people for people to be aware, like, oh, okay, this is the caliber player that we have in this league, and this is the type of person that we want on one of our teams.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, I guess we're kind of running out of time here, but I really appreciate both of you guys coming. If you guys want to shout yourselves out, look at the camera, say follow me, whatever your socials, start your TikTok, please. Oh, is it? Just say like New Williams?
Yeah, it's New Williams _, and that's on Instagram and on Twitter, and then my TikTok is at
it's like Lion Lab.
It might be at the Lion Lab or at Lion Lab. Don't know which one it is.
And then
check out both, and you'll probably find me. You'll see my face.
And then what else? You said you're releasing a course, right? Or
yeah, the 12-week vertical program is coming out on YouTube. You can find that on my YouTube channel, New Williams. If you type that in, you should be able to find it. If not, then go to my Instagram, and I leave links up for my YouTube channel all the time. Turn your post notifications on to see when you're to get updates on when that should be coming, because that is coming within the next month.
And then Bree?
Yeah, well, just follow him, because help me help him, since I'm running the social media stuff now. So
that's real.
His TikTok is at the Lion Lab, so it's pretty easy.
Nice. Well, I appreciate both of you guys coming on, man. It's good to see you. We got to hoop again. Let me lose like 10 pounds first. But yeah. All right. This is the Outliers podcast. First episode. We're wrapping up. See you guys.